gas, West Smoke, boy.
That shit take me way back. Talk that shit like say that.
Welcome everybody to TruExact Show. I'm Ryan Solo here, but that's fine. Today joining us is UK entertainer. I'm not even calling him battle rapper. I'm gonna call him entertainer because he started off rapping and now he's ventured into other projects. So one of my favorite out there in the UK. Thanks, by the way, with the time difference, we finally linked up. The one, the only Cruger. What's up, man?
Hey, thanks for having me, man. It's good to be here.
No, it's awesome. Thank you very much. Yeah. I know it's a little weird doing it from Jersey to UK, but we finally linked up after 7 or 8 months in contact.
Yeah, man.
All right. First, I want to get into like your story, your background, exactly where you're from in London, and how you got into rap in general before you started battling.
Yeah, well, I grew up in Willesden Green, northwest London. So yeah, growing up, I don't know, like hip hop. I was into hip hop from early, like, do you know what I mean? But I think it was probably like the influence of my brother, having an older brother who would play like music in my mum's car, like hearing all like, do you know what I mean? Like Ludacris, Nas, like CDs like that kind of got me interested in it. And also there's a big like garage scene in the UK, which is what kind of like, I started rapping to that before I started doing hip hop. It was kind of like, because that's I would hear all these like, you know, like I used to listen to like pirate radio stations we have out here where like you get like, I would listen to like Dizzy Rascal and Wiley, and this is like, you know, years before they became famous and stuff, but they used to do like sets on radio, and I would listen to it weekly, and that's the shit that made me really want to like spit, like rap. So like when I first started writing, I was writing like garage bars, which is like completely different to like hip hop. It's like, you know, faster tempo, more simplistic, but it's got like it's different kind of vibe and energy. Like the kind of riding over garage beats, and it's like grime basically, but it was before grime was really called grime, so it was more known as like garage, so it came from that scene. So that was like a big influence on me, like as far as like rapping goes. And then I think just as I was in school, when I was like, so I started rapping like when I was like 12, I think. Mm-hmm. And then I think when I got to like 13, 14, I started like, I just learned like so much about rap just through like LimeWire and downloading and just like educating myself in the world of rap. And just like, you know, I would used to go on like rap forums and stuff as well. And just like learning about, like, I was big into cannabis then, the rapper Cannabis.
Yeah.
But yeah, Eminem, obviously, like there was all these like, but it was more like going back and like discovering and Gangstar and just like, I mean, the list is endless, like obviously, but I became obsessed with like hip hop and like just learning everything about it. And I still am today, still trying to discover as much as possible.
Yeah, I noticed that through your rhyme schemes too. It's really like the way you formulate some of your bars, even with the video game stuff, like you stick with the multis too. That's why I love it. Like even with like the Donkey Kong stuff, you're sticking with multis. So you're not dumbing it down when someone consider it like the more like poppy type videos you do. Even the roller coaster song, you're not dumbing down, which I find incredible. You talk about GarageBand. Now this might be I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is the first person you've ever met in the States that's going to say this to you. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm a huge Streets fan. I'm a big Lady Sovereign fan. Yes. So like I watched the Streets live in New York in like 06, original Pirate. Man, don't come for free. War of the Sexes. Like never went to, like I could go through their catalog, like Mike Skinner and them like nothing. I'm a huge fan. How much?
That's amazing.
Yeah, very random, right? Being in the States here in Jersey.
I don't come across that a lot. Like Americans that are fans of UK music, especially during that time. Do you know what I mean? Like
the 03 era. Well, I watched the video when I was a kid. It was the Let's Push Things Forward. And I remember like, what is this? Like, and I was like, oh my God. So I went and bought their CD and I don't know. I love their music. Is that the type of garage type rap you're talking about, and how big was that influence era with the Streets and Mike Skinner actually maybe blowing up with American commercial success?
Yeah, that's all. It was all part of the same scene. Like, you know, I mean, like some of the Streets' first songs were like quite big garage hits, especially like original Pirate Material. It was like kind of a big, like a lot of their songs are quite garagey, and I think he kind of blew up independently. Mike Skinner and the Streets kind of blew up on their own, and like it was so different. Like no one was rapping like that, like the kind of talking style, but over these like sick beats. And he's like completely original and different from anything else that was going on grime, and he was quite far removed from the at least what was going on in London at the time, as far as I could tell. But then obviously when he became like really successful, he actually got really involved with the grime scene and like was signing people, was collabing with a lot of the underground people that I was listening to on the pirate radio stations. He basically did like even like some of the Streets remix songs. He would put like Kano and Deneo and all these people that are killing it now. And Lady Sovereign, I think, is on that track as well. I think it's Lady Sovereign. Yeah, what remix is that again? It's one of the Streets remix tracks, and it's like it gets everyone on it. But yeah, so all of that stuff was a huge influence on me, 100%. Like listening to all that kind of music, and I'm a big Streets fan myself. I think
I never talked to someone from the UK in regards to that, and I always wondered you're being from that era, like how big the success was. So that's really cool to hear. That's cool that he went back and he was humble too and helped out down there. So that's someone I'd love to talk to actually, but I'm sure he's a cool dude. And all right, that's really all I wanted to touch on the Streets. I want to know the influence he had on you, and I got my answer. So that's really cool to hear, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool that you saw him in America in like during '06 or whatever. Like,
yeah, awesome. I still check every.
That would be around the time that them songs I'm talking about was coming out.
Yeah. There was I think it was Webster Hall in 2006, if I'm not mistaken. Only a couple of my friends are actually into the Streets as well. A lot of them don't. I remember I would play them and they're like, what the hell is this? And I was like, I don't know.
It's so different. Yeah,
it just fits. It just worked for me. And I know it's not the best type of lyricism, but it just fucking worked. So that's why I also like the UK scene as far as music and even battle rap. I feel like you guys do it in a very unique way. So like, how do you try to separate yourselves from I feel like it's the same with humor. I want to say your humor is a little more dry, but at the same time you keep it very funny. Like, so how do you try to separate from being like the American rapper versus the UK rapper, if you do anything at all?
Well, I think, like you say, like in the culture in UK, like from stand-up comedy and everything is very like self-degrading, like dry, like you say, like not taking ourselves too serious. And I think that just kind of reflected in like the Don't Flop scene just from it being in England, you know what I mean? Like, I just think that's like a bigger thing that you can't even really articulate. And I feel like even with UK hip hop, like, because other than like the Streets and the grime and that kind of scene, there was like another scene which was like the UK hip hop scene, which was like a lot more kind of just like, you know, boom bap beats, like, you know, lots of rappers like Jest and Skinny Man, and these kind of people I listened to as well, and like Maestro, and like a lot of these people had like a sense of comedy, and like I had like. There was another rapper called Jargon who I used to love, like, because he was like punchlines, you know what I mean? So I was really influenced by the punchline style. Right. So like I loved like even like to bring it like to America, like I liked like the Demigods. And like obviously Eminem, like, but I was always a fan of the rappers that like did punchlines and like had funny lines and could like be quite comedic, but also just be like showing off that I'm like a better rapper than you, basically. So that's the style that I always gravitated towards. And even when I was watching battle raps, when I got into the battle rap scene in America and Canada and all that, you know, I mean, that's the kind of that's the battles that I was a fan of, and it kind of, I think that influenced my style and like how I was. And I think in general, like we all kind of feed off each other. And I think the same thing happened in England, where there was a lot of other funny guys, and like, yeah, I think all our styles kind of just meshed, and that probably why it comes across more like that.
Yeah, and it's also authentic too, and I think that's the most important thing in any type of music, whether it's rock or rap. I mean, you're just a very authentic dude. And I remember when you battled Thesaurus, they had like a preview, and he even said like you're one of the hardest to prepare for, like, because like you don't like what angle you're coming at, like you're very unpredictable. So it's really cool to hear that. But when you get into battle rap here, like, who was the ones that got you into that? Was there anyone you looked up to? Did you watch Smack DVDs? Did you watch the WRCs in 06? And then like, who were the 2 or 3 that you're like, damn, like this makes me want to do it?
100%. I was into battle rap from early. I watched the WRCs. I watched the Smack. I watched like some Murder Mook battles and stuff like that. I didn't watch all of them, but there was a few that was like on the internet that I saw quite early on. But I think I was into jump off was what got me into it really. Like I used to go to this open mic called like Deal Real, and that's where I kind of first started rapping in front of people and like rapping on the mic. And this is where I met a lot of other MCs in the scene, and I heard about jump off through going to that. And then basically I started watching it when I got home, just on the website. This is before YouTube and all that kind of stuff. And I saw, you know, all the Professor Green battles, like where he was just like ripping guys to shreds, and I was like immediately like fascinated with it because I'd seen like other battles, like maybe like Jin, like the Jin battles on MTV. So that was like, you know, popular in school and stuff. Like that was just one of the things that people saw. So I was always like very like interested in the battle scene. And then when I found out about the UK battle scene, it was like, you know, I was really interested. And then they started doing these street battles. And I remember seeing like, you know, when they first started going up on the website, I was just like checking them every time they dropped one. And that's how I became really fascinated with it. And I knew some other people, like I was friends with Possessed, who like entered the WRCs in 2006. So I came to his like, when he did his first battle, I was there in the background. And this was in 2006 as well, I think. And that was my first one I saw live, I think, as far as like a jump off street battle. So I went to that. Must have been like 16 or something at the time. And then I was at the WRCs. I went to 2007. I went to the actual, like I was there on a day, and then I went to the New York for the finals.
With Erg and Arc?
When and Arc was battling, yeah. And so I've been like involved in the scene from then. And I was like, even like, I was like very close to entering the battle scene back then. But back then it was very much like freestyle. Like it was like, you had to freestyle. And I was never that confident with my freestyles. Like I like doing it mucking around, but like the pressure of doing it live. And then I know like obviously you mix a bit of writtens and you do this and you do that. But I was preparing myself up for it. But honestly, when like the written battle started getting like accepted, like we started seeing like the grind time battles that they started releasing. And I think it was even Jump Off that posted the grind time battle that I saw. Lush One versus Unorthodox Phrases, I believe, might have been the first one I saw. And then I like found that channel, and then I was going back and checking out all their videos, and I was like, this is sick. And I was like, look, like they're doing battles, but it's like written, like, and it's accepted. Do you know what I mean? And like, obviously me and were like big fans of battle rap, and like Jump Off had stopped doing like battles for a while. There wasn't really any events, or there was talk about WRC 08. And because this was like obviously WRC 07, then there was 08. And I remember they even did like one of those
preliminary groups,
the prelim qualifiers in London, and I went there like ready to battle, but no one else turned up. There was actually no one there.
Yeah,
so I was the only one there.
It's crazy because if you look back at the era, like the 06, 07, like without that jump off era, they kind of like were the sacrificial lambs in a way. They reintroduced it, and then kind of like King of the Dot took over, and then you know URL came back after King of the Dot, which I'll stand by, and they kind of got shoved aside. And then you got people who've been battling for like 15 years who don't even get recognition from the newer fan base. And it's like these dudes were doing it. Like a guy like Marv One was in the 07 URCs with Quest McCody. And like the newer fan base talks about like, oh, they need their flowers or they need to earn their way to the top. It's like you have no idea what these guys have been through. So
if you look at the WRCs, like the roster on that, like Hollow the Don was on it, like Disaster. So I mean, Thesaurus, Ilmac, Madness. Like, oh man, the roster was crazy.
Right. And it's just like, I feel like Jump Off kind of like, I think the dude Harry ran it, right? Yeah. Like it kind of, you know, it started it, and it was kind of ahead of its time, and it had no idea what it was building up to. And it just kind of, things happen. Though happened with Sega Dreamcast, right? So
yeah, exactly.
It's pretty much it. So when you decided to step into the ring, like what made you do it? I know you said like, all right, I showed up to the prelims, but from people I talked to who do battle, personally, I don't really have the guts to step in there. I love battle rap. I love to rap, but like as far as stepping in with the 3-minute rounds, it takes a lot. You really have to have like balls to do it. I tried comedy once. I failed miserably. So stepping in the ring here, it's a lot. So like, what was the moment you're like, fuck it, I'm going to do it?
Well, like I said, I was ready to do it in like '08 when I was like, when the jump off, I was going to enter the jump off tournament. I was ready from then, because when I was watching it in '07, do you know what I mean? Like even in '06, like ever since I was watching the battles, obviously like I was a fan, like me being like, that was the kind of raps I was writing anyway, because I was like a fan of like the writing the punchline raps and like doing like, so like my whole style was a kind of battle kind of style already. So like it only made sense that I would do the battles, because I was like super into like lyrical rap. Like that was my thing, like being lyrical. Like that's what I like cared about, like the rhyming multis, like punchlines. So it just naturally lends itself to battle rap. So obviously from when I was watching it all those times, I'm thinking about, yeah, I'm going to enter. But I didn't have the like confidence yet. I done like when we started Don't Flop, and it was literally like, it was so small, like it was just us, like because we wanted to battle ourselves. And like we knew other rappers, like just from people we met in the scene. And like, you know, we'd been like in the UK hip hop kind of scene, like going to events and da 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 da. So like it was kind of like, yeah, let's just and obviously like, you know, with MySpace and stuff like that, like contacting rappers, like that's how it all started. Like, I even met her on MySpace.
Yeah.
And all the early Don't Flop battles were set up on MySpace. We messaged O'Shea to, you know, I mean, come for the first event that we did. Well, not even event, just like outdoor battles. But it just like, it all started from there really. And then like, I got my first taste of it. There was one battle I did that wasn't uploaded, which we filmed and we never uploaded it, but they actually show a clip of it in a documentary they made about battle rap, because I gave him like all the old like original Don't Flop tapes. And so yeah, and I hated that first battle I did like so much. Like it was just because my like the way my delivery was just so poor and just like not confident. So then when I saw that back, I was just like cringing, like, oh my God. Like when I do my first, like at least I've got the footage so I can not release it. But we didn't release any of the battles of that day. It was just like a thing where we just they didn't come out. It was like a test run, almost like a promo. And then yeah, I think when we set up our first battles, I was like a lot more like prepared. Like I know what I wanted to do. And I think my first one was a 2-on-2 with in Brighton, and we battled the two guys, and that was kind of like my first little taste of it. And then I had my first solo battle against Censor. And that one felt a bit more serious because, you know what I mean, you're like, it's just you. And then like, yeah, I mean, we were leading up to the battle. We were both living in Norwich at the time because I was at uni there and Censor's from Norwich. So, but we would like link up all the time and just have ciphers like me, Censor, Arc, a few other people. But we would just like, it became like a thing where we would always like link up and just like have freestyle ciphers. Like, this was around the time of like WRCs and all that kind of stuff. And it was very much just like going 4-bar back to back, like bouncing off each other's ideas. Like it was kind of like a training ground of like, you know, like how to come up with punchlines. And I was never really like that great at the freestyling thing. Like I did it for fun and stuff, but like, I know like from my style, like thinking about it and actually coming up with the proper setups and rhymes, that was like much more what I was interested in. So I got to like really test it out against Censor. And then yeah, once it started, you know what I mean? It was like, I was part of the Don't Flop roster. We had like a small roster, and like, I was like eager to get involved, you know what I mean? And like starting from like doing the battles outside, then we started doing events, and I'm, you know, battling in front of loads of people, getting like reactions. I'm feeling the buzz from it. And then like, yeah, then later on, like all these like opportunities come along. Like first we'd started doing like events all over like England, do you know what I mean? So we started off in London, Brighton, then started going up north of England. So it was like, you know, battling in different towns and like traveling to different towns, which was interesting for me. And like, you wouldn't really have reasons to go to all these random places like York and just like random like cities in England without a reason. But that kind of gave us the reason to visit all these places. Was, you know, we were just like expanding, finding new rappers, going to different locations, finding rappers, building up our fan base. And we was doing this for years and years and years till it like blew up into the monster that it became. But and then obviously all the like travel opportunities came along. Like we got offered to battle in I think, was it Grind Time first? Yeah, Grind Time was first. I battled Illusion Z in 2009 at like this huge event, Battle of the Bay 5, where Ilmac battled for Saurus, Arsenal conceited. Like the lineup was ridiculous, and to even be included on that lineup, and I was like first on the day, and then that was like a real like crazy moment for me, obviously after watching Grind Time and all these battles for so long, and to like be there in the ring with Lush One hosting and stuff like that. So, you know, that was like a real buzz. And I knew after having all these other Don't Flop battles, like that battle was like the important one. That's the one I got to kill. And I know that because I knew it was going to be a big crowd. So I knew like projection was really important. Because I remember something I learned that just from like going to ciphers, like in like the open mic Deal Real that I was talking about. I was like, I learned a lot from that, like from other rappers, because I was friends with like Rhyme Asylum.
Yeah.
And they were like the cipher kings, like they were so ill. And one of their like strong things was like they were really like good at projection. So like, you know what I mean, when they're outside in like a circle, loud voices, like really projection, and like other rappers as well, obviously. And I think that really took an influence on me. And then I knew when I was performing in front of this crowd, like projection was really important, like being like, you know, confident and just obviously having good material. And I think in that time, it was like really tight limits, time limits as well, like 1 minute rounds, 3 1 minute rounds. So it was kind of like, I was just like, I got to get as many punchlines in as possible. Like I got to minimize like long setups and I just got to be like set up, punchline, set up, like try get as much in as possible. And I think that's like really helped me like make a name for myself doing that Illusion Z battle. And then after that, like a little later on, we got invited out to King of the Dot, Toronto. I got to battle in Sweden. And then, yeah, just different battling for different leagues in different countries. It was just like an amazing experience. So I loved it, man.
I want to ask 2 things about battling more, and then I'll get into your newer stuff. Who was the hardest you've ever prepared for or had to prepare for?
I think the hardest I've had to prepare for was Conceited, because there was a different level of pressure. To like, he was definitely the biggest and still is the biggest battle rapper I've ever faced. And I think the magnitude of that event, it was like, we'd like Don't Flop had like become like really big. Like before my last battle, and then I didn't battle for ages, and then, you know, Don't Flop became really huge, and then we started doing, you know, these massive events. So it was like my first comeback into Don't Flop since we become really big. So there was big crowd, a lot of pressure, and I just remember feeling so like nervous writing for it, because even though I was happy with my material and how it came out, when you're writing material, you second guess yourself. You're like, is this good enough? Like, you can't tell how it's going to go down. And still to this day, you never know how stuff's going to go down.
Right.
So I think all of that stuff was kind of affecting me. And I didn't like it, like, to be honest. Like, I'm so happy I did it, and I like the battle, and I'm so proud of it. But I didn't like the preparing for it. And I think that might have been one of the first ones where it kind of like, I was starting to get put off by the preparing for battles. And I did a few more after that, like, and I'm like, you know, really happy I did them and happy with all my performances. But the more battles I did after that point, I think the pressure and like, I don't know, it just got to me. And I just kind of like, I was like, each battle I was doing, I was like, all right, this is going to be my last battle. This is going to be my last battle.
Yeah.
And then with the Fresco one in 2015, that was my last one. And I think, yeah, I don't really like, I'm quite happy with the little run I had, and I don't really think I'll come back, but, you know, never say never. But there's definitely aspects I miss about it. But then, you know, the preparing, that's kind of like, yeah, I don't know, man. It's a lot of pressure.
From everyone we talked to, every rapper we've had on, even I'm friends with like 1 or 2 are in some leagues. They say like the preparing is just, it's stressful as hell. Like, it's just like, cause it's like being a comedian going up, like you don't know what crowd you're getting. So like your material might hit on a Wednesday and you do the same set on a Thursday and no one laughs. And it's like, shit, like I
you only get one time to perform it.
Yeah, and it's like I still have 5 minutes left. Oh boy. That's why you just gotta pull a Bill Burr and just trash the city when they're booing you, when he did it to Philadelphia. All right, so if you did make a comeback, who would you want to battle out of all the leagues out? Because there's like a few now. You got, you know, Rare Breed, I Battle, you are a bunch. I could go down the list. So who would you want to battle if you had one person to pick?
Man, I don't even really know. Like, there's no one I want to battle, because obviously, like, if I did want to battle them, I could probably set it up. But I'm just like, you know, there's people that I'm fans of. You know what I mean? I don't even know if I'd want to battle them. Like, I'd say, you know, like probably my favorite battle rapper is Pat Stay.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know if I want to battle Pat Stay. I just think he's like he probably ripped me. But like, I'm a huge fan of Pat Stay. Like, obviously Dumbfounded. I know he hasn't battled in a while, but Dumbfounded was one of my favorites. But yeah, I'd love to battle on one of these new leagues, man. Not even new, but like I'd love to battle on like iBattle or something like that. Like I love seeing what they're doing like that. Even doing a URL battle would be like a mad trip, and that would be such a challenge. Like like performing to that crowd and like winning them over.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't like. I think it's perfect. It's doable. But like right now, I honestly don't think that I will come back to battle rap.
No, that's fine. You got something else good going, which we'll segue into. See, I'm pretty good at that, the segue. Yeah. So the new stuff you've been doing where you pick like video games and Diddy Kong or Donkey Kong and Mario. I showed a couple people your Mario thing today. And like I have questions on these. How do you pick what game you're doing? And do you play the game and then write, or write and then act out what you're writing?
Yeah. So here's how it goes.
Okay. Please.
It all started with the Rayman rap. That was my first one I ever did, and I like all the games that I rap about. I'm huge fans of those games. So those are the games that I grew up playing. Do you know what I mean? Like I was like obsessed with Rayman, obsessed with Crash Bandicoot. I love the platformer games, you know what I mean? Obsessed with Mario, still am to all these games. So platforming's always been my thing. That's why I like Donkey Kong. So another thing was like, I love the soundtracks on these games.
Yeah.
Like it's nostalgic, but also it's just like great music. So like, I would just like, I think maybe one time when I was playing Rayman, I was just like the beats, I was just like, you could actually rap to this, like, cause it's like, they're like actually like you can like find a rhythm and like, so I would just like fuck about and like rap to it, just saying little things. And then I was like, all right, yeah, this is sick. I'm gonna do this. So then I just downloaded like the full soundtrack of Rayman, just going through the beats and like picking ones. And then I was like, all right, like, do you know what I mean? Watch it. Like, I'll just rap about Rayman over it. So like, I thought, all right. So what I do is I look up on YouTube just other people playing it. So I just take the videos of other people playing it. Then I just literally just follow like what they're doing and just like try to make a rhyme out of it. Try to follow like what they're doing. Like I think it's because like I'm an editor as well, so I can combine like my video editing skills with my like rapping skills. So like I just like I'll get the video and I'll like cut it up and like I mean with a lot of those ones it's just like straight playing and I'm just like trying to talk about what's happening while it's happening. But I could just kind of like plan it out with the beat. So like I'd play it and then I'd be like, all right, I want to say this here. I want to say that there, and then I don't know, it just comes together. Like it's really a fun exercise. And since I started doing it, I'm finding it hard to go back to the other way of writing because I think like it gives you prompts. You know what I mean? Like it actually gives you like now when I try to write a track, I'm like I don't know where to start. Like I don't know what to say. Like I feel like my style has changed so much from like when I first started rapping and when like I just don't rap about the same things I used to. But I like doing these concept raps and like the little things because it's like it gives you a topic to write about and you can have fun with it and prompts. And I've actually like written like a whole bunch more that I haven't released.
I think you should though, man. I think it's a cool niche, man. Like you look at no one's ever done this. And I mentioned it to someone at work when we were talking about it. It's like a Weird Al type style. Like Weird Al took the songs and like this could be like your thing. Where like
that's what I'm fully trying to do.
It's amazing. It's like my brother doesn't like hip hop, and I sent him some of them, and he goes, "This shit's incredible." Even like the emoji one, or just the box photo, stock photo one. Like, I mean, it's so clever. It's so fucking clever. Man. No problem. And how do you have to pause and go back to what like the video, like you're saying, like when he jumps for a feather, so it's like running together, jump for a feather, and then it's like wait, all right, I gotta pause that, write it down, and then press play again, you know?
And it's definitely pausing, pressing play and rewinding back and playing it again and again and playing it again to the beat and like finding the spots where you can kind of like, and it's like because I kind of just work in like 4 bars or 2 bars basically. So I'm like, if I'm like rapping like the 2 bars on the same rhyme scheme, I'm like, all right, by the time it gets to this 4th bar, this happens in the video. So I'm playing the video back and I'm like, all right, when it gets to the 4th bar, I've got to end it on this. Do you know what I mean? Or so like, then I'll work backwards. So I'll be like, this is what I'm leading up to. Oh, he jumped on the mushroom or whatever. So I'm like, all right, I got to end the 4 bar on it, jumped on the mushroom. And then I'm just finding things that go along with it. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the best way I can describe it. So like I've written a whole bunch. I've done a bunch more. My new thing that I'm doing is like nature videos. like, you know, like animal, like clips like from David Attenborough and stuff, like about like animals fighting each other and stuff. And I'm like basically like making it into a story and just like telling it from the animal's perspective. And
It's
like,
so yeah, it's so fucking amazing. Like I hate to like laud you like this, but it really is incredible, man. Like there's, especially with content being so repetitive on the internet nowadays, even with like a podcast, who gives a fuck what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like everyone does it. No offense, love having you on, but at the end of the day, who gives a fuck what I'm saying? You know, like, but there's so much repetitive stuff on the internet for this to be so different. Like there's nothing else like it. So like I really think it's awesome, man. I really applaud you for it.
Oh, I appreciate it, man. And yeah, I think I just because it is something different and a niche. That's why I've kind of just stuck to it and just I want to do more of that and just see where it takes me, really, because they're fun to write and I like making the videos and yeah.
Now, how we got in contact or how I contacted you the first time was when you wrote the rap to the Steamed Hams clip from Superintendent Chalmers, the infamous Steamed Hams clip from The Simpsons with Chalmers and Skinner. And you know, Bill Oakley was on the show. He wrote the scene. So like I messaged you and I was like, this is fucking awesome here. So how did you create that? Because that to me is one of the greatest things on the internet is being a huge Simpson fan, being a huge Simpson.
Thank you.
No
Thank
problem.
you.
So it's you and then a sneezing cat. 1, 2. So
no, thank you. I'm a huge Simpsons fan as well. I've thought about doing Simpsons tracks for like ages and I could never think of the right way to do it. I've thought about like, you know, doing like referencing everything that happens in The Simpsons and like going through the characters. I could never really think of a good idea. And then like literally, because I was a fan of all these Steamed Hams memes that were coming out anyway. And it's just like a light bulb moment. It was just like, oh, I'll just rap the Steamed Hams. Like it was just like as simple as that. But it was probably the hardest one I've ever had to write because when I came up with the idea, it was so long ago from when it actually came out. Because like it took me so long to do. Because I just kept getting stuck and I would be like, oh, I can't do it. It's impossible. Or like, I'll just like leave it. And I just like, you know, you're not in the right mood to write. So I'm not getting any further. I would get a little bit further. And then I think, like loads of times when I was writing it, I would just pause, get stuck and just be like, this isn't working or like doubt it or like, you know, move on to other things. And I think eventually I just got there. I think when I realized like I clocked one bill and I was like, Superintendent, I was just doing some stretches, exercise. I was just using the ledges. Yeah. When I clocked that bit, I was like, all right, I've actually got something here. Like this can actually like, I can make this work. So like I knew like once I've written that first bit up to there, and I was like, all right, now like I have to finish this because I know it's possible. And then I would reach other parts of the track where I was just like, I can't describe this like in rhyming form in the pace. So, you know, I chopped it up a lot. I actually like repeated frames and like really like kind of stretched out bits that I needed to get out like what I needed to say and cut bits down. And just I looked at the original script of the Steamed Hams a lot to cross-reference and like analyze it like, all right, well, this happens here, then this happens here. Like, how can I reword that? Or how can I say this in a different way? Just trying to retell the story and get all of those same like punchlines and jokes in. And then, eventually I just got it out and had a good take. And then
see it
put it out. And that one definitely blew up more than any of them.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, when did you realize, like, oh shit, I got something here? This is like actually, because I'm on a lot of Simpsons groups on Facebook and stuff, and everyone was kind of posting it. So like, when did you see like the views just start to go and roll?
I didn't expect it, honestly, like, because I was putting out other tracks, like the emoji track, and like I thought that had like some viral potential and stuff, and like a lot of them like just kind of did okay, like, you know. So I was like kind of expecting the same kind of thing with this track, and you know, I was proud of it, but I didn't think it would get the reaction it did. Like, I just didn't think it would like get onto people so much radar. Like, I didn't think it would get that much attention and like spread the way it did, because it's really like kind of like. In this like the first thing that's kind of gone viral for me as far as like other than battles and you know, I've had other kind of tracks do okay, but this one by far done the best.
Yeah.
So just seeing the quick reaction so quick, and it like blowing up on TikTok a lot. Do you know what I mean? Like that was on one of the first videos I posted on TikTok, and so it was amazing to see. And then obviously like it was like such a head trip when Bill Oakley actually commented on it, the guy who actually wrote the original Simpsons script, and then like that was like a real like, wow, this is like reached like a whole nother level. And that tripped me out, but I was like, you know, it was very like humbling and like nice to see.
Yeah.
And
It's really
I got a lot of love, respect, and it kind of like it spurred me on that, like, all right, this is what I got to keep on doing. Like I got to keep doing like videos like this because I see potential there, and they're just fun to write and perform.
Yeah. How long did it take total to like chop that up? How many hours or days?
Honestly, I couldn't count it because I don't really know, because I would take like months off. Like I would like write a bit of it and then just like just get distracted with life and other stuff. And you know, when you get that kind of like urge to kind of like, you're feeling creative and you want to write, and then when I actually got into the swing of it, it wasn't even that like I all kind of did it like within like a few days, but it was like the leading up to it, and like I would just take long breaks. So it's kind of hard to really remember how long it took in total altogether, to be honest with you. But yeah, got it out in the end.
I know, thank God it did. It was really cool to see it blow up like that. All right, before I let you go, Krug, I really appreciate you coming out. What else do you have in the works? I know you have the Sounds Like show do sometimes. So like, just let us know, for people watching or listening, like where we could catch your stuff and the future of you. What are you working on?
Yeah, so yeah, you can see me, get me on Instagram, Twitter /Cruger7. Yeah, like I got like a lot more of these kind of tracks coming, like, you know, like a lot of the videos, like narration through rap and other random topics. Like I'm just trying to like do way more of those kind of videos. Like I don't have much. I mean, you know, never know in the future, like doing more kind of like tracks or albums, or like right now I'm just trying to do loads of these video raps. So that's what I'm working on right now. I've got like a whole bunch coming out soon. I've got a films rap. I've got like these the, you know, referencing like all films and stuff. Then I got like a lot of these like nature videos where I'm like narrating nature through rap, and a bunch of other tracks that I'm working on. So yeah, that's what's in the pipeline. Also, Sounds Like, you can check out our show. It's like a podcast, like rhyming game show. We get lots of battle rappers and rappers on there. That's at soundslikeshow.com. We got a show coming up in a couple of weeks that I'm hosting, and we're having Shuffle T and Marlowe versus Ilmac and Thesaurus.
That's awesome.
In a game show. Do you know what I mean? But they're going to be going back to back. Like we do like a round where it's like bar for bar. So we give them a rhyme scheme, like a multi to go off, and then they've got to like conversate back and forth with the one rhyme. Do you know what I mean? So it's a lot of fun. Like there's a lot of rounds like that, and yeah, check it out if you haven't seen it. Sounds Like show. But yeah, man, that's what's coming up.
All right, Krug, thanks for coming on, man. Really appreciate it. And that show is very interesting, and them four should be very interesting to see who wins that one, man.
Yeah, nice one, man. Thanks for having me, man.
No problem.